everybody wants huge forearms. Yet people are confused that only train with bodyweight training. How do I target the forearms? How do I put it in a more isolated position and actually train it? Well, as an enthusiast for bodyweight bodybuilding, I have a top tier exercise to show you. Begin by putting the base of your wrist, which is the area of the wrist joint, around the bar, then start pulling. This is an extremely effective exercise for the forearm because even if there's no wrist movement, it's just using it more overall and placing, a lot of overall stress on it. It's a very intelligent exercise because even if you don't have rings, which we'll talk about how to use rings for forearms too, it puts the forearm in a very super used position where you are using just about most of your forearms in the exercise when you put the wrist in that position, which is very smart, especially for the anatomical motion of the forearms. Regardless of the anatomical motion of the forearm and if it's worked effectively when we flex our wrists and use wrist motion, that doesn't, on the spectrum of this forearm exercise, it's effective because even though there's no wrist motion, it's just so effective. I know I keep saying it, but it works so damn well. Now, if you want to take this exercise even further to progress, grab a pair of rings, just one ring, and then do false grip of both hands inside of the ring. And then, that is fucking crazy, man. You're going to be feeling it. Keep in mind that when we do regular pull-ups and weighted pull-ups, our forearms are used as kind of a secondary muscle. It's not as focused as much. It's still getting some type of work in. But when we put it in the that specific position where our wrist is around the bar, oh my god, dude, it puts more of the focus of the exercise into the forearms itself. So on the spectrum, it's very effective. Take this even further, and there's two things you can do. You can just do the forearm pull-ups with weighted, or you can superset it by doing a regular forearm pull-ups or on rings, whatever, and then superset it with regular weighted pull-ups. Oh my god, I was fucking dying after this workout here. This exercise is amazing. For the setup, put the rings around knee height and then actually grab the top of the rings with your two hands and then put it out in front of you. Now lean back, put your arms out in front of you, and with the back of your hand, start pulling the back of your hand in towards you and start, performing the motion of just contracting the forearm extensors. How this exercise is formulated and the position is where the resistance is the resistance in the exercise is where you can actually curl the resistance towards you, and it's pulling against you, right, with the rings and in this motion. So you can actually curl it with the back of your hands, and you curl the wrists, and it's very very effective. Just copy my form. And the important thing in this exercise is to always keep your arms out in front of you, almost at head level, because you're gonna start to feel yourself cheat and use all your force in order to complete the rep. And oh my god, it is a gruesome exercise for the forearm extensors. You can literally just feel it. The thing is, I've never found this exercise online ever, and I thought it would be very apparent, but it's just such an effective exercise that you better be glad I'm not gatekeeping this, dude. But no, seriously though, it is a very effective exercise for the forearm extensions that you can just feel it. Honestly, it's better than the forearm pull-ups in my opinion. And the way it is just if you have a pair of rings, you better invest in a pair of rings, because that is just so worth it to get the biomechanics. And the way you can create biomechanics for exercises, including the forearms, is completely possible, just like weightlifting. And so I'm here to prove that to you guys. And seriously, the best part about this exercise is that it isolates the forearm extensors really well. I know I've already said that before, but the forearm extensors make a pretty big aesthetic of your forearm, make sure that, whenever you're using stuff or whatever, it just makes your forearms look way much better. For example, mechanics, they have very developed extensor forearms, and that's what makes it extremely aesthetic, so why wouldn't you want that? The general motion of wrist deviation targets the muscle alongside the pinky finger of the muscle, which is known as the ulnar muscle. And I'd say mine, definitely grew from this exercise. And this exercise is the only reason why my ulnar grew. and then it will continue to get bigger. And I found out about this exercise like a month ago when I was experimenting, and yeah, this will give you the biggest forearm pump of your life. It is such an effective exercise, dude. First, you're gonna put the rings around below kneecap height. Honestly, you could put it around kneecap height, but honestly, I prefer it below. Now, perform wrist deviation. Yeah, just like when you discovered you were 13. Yeah, this is the exact same motion, so you should be probably familiar with it. Now, when you perform this exercise with the ring's actually going to be in a neutral grip, which is, it's not like you could turn it any other way, because this is the most optimal way to perform medial radiation. This exercise is extremely effective for growing the ulnar muscle, which I know it looks like I'm just doing some random exercise here, but when you actually do the exercise yourself and can actually feel it, oh my God, your ulnar will be pumped up like you're fucking fisting a girl. Something to keep in mind with this exercise is that take your time to find the balance of it, and also remember that the resistance when you are holding onto the ring the resistance is coming from both directions of the ring. So when you perform ulnar radiation or deviation, whatever, when you perform, and a medial deviation, when you turn your wrists upwards and when you turn your wrists downwards, it's still like difficult in both directions, right? Not one is biased to be easier than the other, which creates even more force that you're gonna have to use in your whole forearm, especially the ulnar part, in order to just like deviate that muscle and to just absolutely like perform that motion. It's it's a great exercise. You can also put your wrist on top of the other if you feel it helps a lot. You can also put a towel around the ring if you want to get a better grip of it. And, it really does look pointless in the clip that I'm showing. But when you actually perform the exercise itself, like I just said, oh my God, literally, it just feels so great on the ulnar muscle. And the ulnar muscle is a very aesthetic part of the forearm because, when people look at you from the back, they're going to be like, what? Okay, your forearm looks like kind of good. When people look at you from the side, or, a little bit from the front too, it just looks like more aesthetic. But usually from the side or from the back, yeah, that's where you want the ulnar muscle to be more aesthetic. And remember, the ulnar muscle is the one that lines along the forearm on the pinky side. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, even though I'm a calisthenics athlete, in my first couple years of training, I never had strong forearms. It'd just be like skinny. So when I actually started putting in isolation exercises and such, oh my God, my forearms grew like comparatively bigger. And I just started to figure out what works. Now, there's actually a couple forms you can do for this exercise, whichever you like. First, put your elbow at the side when you perform wrist deviation. And honestly, I like this one a lot. It helps me target it. Or you can put the elbow right in front of you and your hand in front of you as well. Find out which one you like. It's weird because for my left hand, I like it when it's in front of me. But for my right hand, I like it when it's at my side. So that will probably create some muscle imbalance, but honestly, whatever feels well for me. I know it's a unilateral exercise, and this is my forearm pump. And you can just see on my ulnar, the muscle on my pinky side of the forearms, it is just, popping out, especially my right forearm there. My left forearm has also got some good growth going on too. And, it might be because of the sleeves, limiting the blood or whatever. But honestly, having isolation exercise is the best thing you can do for the muscle and such. Okay, so now how do we actually implement these exercises and sets and reps and stuff into an actual routine? Well, I'll give you a couple guidelines, but then ultimately it'll depend on you, your schedule and such, but that won't stop me from giving recommendations. If you're already in a training routine that's more high frequency, high volume based, add the forearm workouts in a PPL split. You can add it on pull day, but make sure for these forearm exercises and their sets and reps and stuff, how much you determine, you should actually add it at the end of the workout, because if you add it before, that's going to greatly affect the workout because your forearms are already sore, then you can't lift as much weight. So in order to get the most, just the most effective growth, you should probably add it at the end of a workout. In terms of the forms itself, make sure to keep them controlled and contract it really hard in order for, high intensity muscular contractions. For some of these exercises, you might have to really get a little bit explosive at the end to even push the hypertrophy and intensity, which is fine. You should do that to, exert yourself more growth. Train to maximum failure or 1 to 2 reps in reserve of these exercises in order to, just have good hypertrophy and stuff. Your forearms are used a lot in calisthenics already, so forearms are actually the most neglected part, in my opinion, because people don't have a training day for them. People just don't target them that much. Maybe just like 1 forearm exercise, 2 forearm exercises a week, that's it, honestly. Now, to give it the most maximum hypertrophy and grow them the most, here is my absolute recommendation. You should have a single day where it is dedicated just forearms and do these exercises. The following sets and reps will be prescribed. 3 to 5 sets of 10 to 20 reps of the false grip pull-ups. For the forearm extensors, 5 sets of 10 to 20 reps. And the ring wrist deviations, 5 sets of 10 to 20 reps of each arm. Now, that is going to blow up your fucking forearms. You're going to be looking like freaking, crazy bodybuilder. I have BB Pro, Ramon Dino, dude, you're going to be insane, bro. Remember, though, keep it in, serious moderation. My mistake with training forearms was that I had a whole training forearm day where I had, 6 or 7 exercises, and then my wrists... my left wrist just popped, and it was a training injury. It got inflamed a lot, and I couldn't do a lot of lifts because it got hurt so bad. I couldn't do barbell, bicep curls and stuff. So always keep it in moderation with these forearm exercises, and make sure to always do warm-ups with bands and wrist conditioning. And so look up some wrist conditioning exercises on YouTube, because make sure to not inflame your wrist and injuries, because that will get you that will fuck you up in the long term. Trust me, I've been there, dude. It's happened to me. I'm going to be honest with you. I got bullied for being skinny. I got pushed around, and I'm like, all right, fuck this shit. I'm going to do martial arts. I'm going to change myself. I'm going to bodybuild. And calisthenics was originally what I started with. And I'm like, okay, fuck that. I'm going to change that, dude. I'm going to prove that I can bodybuild with calisthenics. And that is essentially my mission. Proving that you can build a lot of muscle as a bodybuilder or average weightlifter, and even look better than them with calisthenics if you train them in the appropriate hypertrophy way, which is what I'm here to prove to you. Right now I have a program, and if you're interested, it's in the link in my bio, and I think you'll enjoy it. It'll get you good results. And honestly, I made a lot of progress. I've started bulking since January, and I'm so glad to be on this journey. I want to get to a point where I upload 2 to 3 times a week, and I share value with you guys. And have a good night.